Hello, my name is Brandy Taylor, and this is my PowerPoint video presentation of my senior practicum project, which was drawing blood cultures off of central lines in the acute care setting. This is class NUR 456 senior practicum. Once again, my name is Brandy. I'm a registered nurse at the University of Virginia, and this is the week 5 video and PowerPoint presentation. So the introduction. I chose to do blood culture draws for many reasons. It was a benefit to our patients. It was a benefit to our nurses. Um, if it went well, I projected that it would probably go hospital wide because this is such a big problem in our hospital, and the information is just useful overall. We have had a large influx of heme-onc patients come onto our unit, and one of the big issues that we have is that they fever, and when they fever, we have to call what we call a MET, which is the medical emergency team. They come and they would draw blood cultures. But unfortunately, we have had such a high incidence of what we consider possible neutropenic fevers that we were overutilizing the MET team, and there were things they could have been doing that were more important. So it fell on us to draw the cultures. Unfortunately, most of our nurses, if not all of our nurses, had never been taught how to draw a culture, had never drawn a culture, or were not doing it per the UVA standard work guidelines. So getting ready for this, I had multiple meetings with my project mentor. We designed a pre-survey that we put out to our staff. They were assigned to fill out the survey and return it so we could then see where our weak points were. At which point we were slightly overwhelmed because our weak points were top to bottom. Our average score on that pre-survey was about 60%, 70%. I mean, even the people who listed that they felt they were experts on the subject were not getting a 100. I actually had no 100s on my pre-survey. So what we did from there was coordinated with our education department. We got our central line models and our blood culture supplies, and I created a lesson plan, take-home leaflets, an in-service PowerPoint that I used to teach how to draw cultures off of a central line. I created an in-service schedule with a roster of who was to attend at what time, a post-test, and a post-survey. Then we were ready to go. So we got set up. I set up the night before. The staff was notified of the in-services and what time they were assigned to attend. Obviously, this was based upon whether they were available at that time. Obviously, things happen. We're nurses. Things happen on the unit all the time. Once we went through the PowerPoint step by step, then we took the time to use our mannequins and our supplies to teach back and show me. First of all, it's muscle memory. You get to go through it, but also it gave them the option to, or the opportunity to ask questions and show me that they understood the step-by-step directions. Some of the challenges that we found with this was attempting to stay on schedule. I did not allot myself enough time between in-services. I didn't realize how much time it would take to do the teach back. I didn't count on the amount of questions that nurses actually had regarding the UVA standard work. And then once everything there was said and done, they had to do the post-knowledge test and in-service survey, many of which didn't get turned in until way later in the day because we had already overstepped our time. However, as far as the actual in-service goes, it went fairly well. It did open up questions that were necessary because it made it obvious. The in-service made it very obvious that there are gaps in the standard work. There were very many questions that did not have answers. And so it was really great because I am now able to take that standard work questioning back to what we call our PNSO, which I'm a board member of, the Professional Nursing Service Organization. And explain the questions, explain the gaps, the gray areas, so that we can rework that standard work and it'll make it just even better for the future. This is two pictures I took. On the left, you see the 4 stations of Central Line Culture Draws. We were blessed that our education department was able to provide us with such great mannequins and the real supplies that we needed to practice. Besides the mannequins and the culture kits, you also see the post-test and survey in the middle, the sign-in sheet in the middle, and the little take-home leaflets that I made over towards the left. And nurses really enjoyed those. I told them to put them in their locker. The little orange pieces inside of the culture kits are technically step-by-step directions, but they're really not. They're actually very difficult to understand and so basic as to be vague. So I really liked my little step-by-step, and I'm actually going to keep a copy of it in my locker as well. So this is just pictures of some of my nurses doing their teach back with me. As you can see, I think this is my second or third in service. That table was a mess. That is another thing. That's one of the reasons that we kept going over schedule, was we were trying to, between in services, reorganize our things. And unfortunately, the first group didn't do a good job of salvaging. So we then had to make do with what we had at that point. So in summary, the post surveys, we did great. Everybody got a 100, I think. Well, not everybody, but everybody got a majority of 100 and up to like an 86. I think one of the nurses got 3 of them wrong. The post presentation knowledge quiz, the biggest feedback that I got was that I wasn't knowledgeable enough to be teaching this in service. They didn't feel like it was very helpful, or that the information that they got was to their standards, in a sense, accurate. As far as the knowledgeability goes, I only know what the UVA standard work is. So if the standard work is gray, then I'm kind of going to be gray, which is why I'm going to take that information back to the PNSO and see if we can get the standard work rewritten so that it's a little more black and white and not gray. Post-presentation knowledge quiz. Other than the lack of knowledgeability, I think one nurse said that she felt it was a waste of her time. However, I believe this was one of those nurses that if you weren't teaching the way she thought that it needed to be, it was wrong. She pushed back from the beginning. That's not how I was taught to do it. That's not what we did, at X, Y, and Z facility. And my response was, I understand that everybody was taught how to do something differently. I was taught how to hang antibiotics differently than a lot of people. But I'm going to do it the facility way. You need to do it the facility way. You're here. Let's do it the right way per UVA policy, because if everybody is doing something different, then the results are going to be inconsistent. That's not fair to the patient. It's not fair to the facility. It's not fair to the floor. So let's do it right per the facility. That's most important. That was basically my biggest challenge as well. It's just people questioning the process and being unfamiliar with answers because there just wasn't those answers available. I feel like if we can improve upon anything, it'll be hopefully getting that standard work improved upon. And then these are just my references because I referenced the UVA standard work first and foremost. Thank you everybody for observing my PowerPoint presentation, and I can't wait to see what critiques you give me on how I could have improved. And now I'm struggling on how to get out of this. My apologies. Sorry, guys. Thank you so much.